Yo, I want to chill right now.
You're disrespecting me in a public forum right now. You realize that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want that to be the goal of the podcast, for somebody to let go of their worries in the world and listen to us.
This is my new look, Daddy David. Daddy David.
Born to procreate. Born to procreate. Yeah, that better make it in the intro.
Nah, probably not.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 96 of the Unboxing Life podcast.
Wow.
I am one of your four hosts for today for this amazing, fantastic review of the brand new Batman movie, The Batman. So, kick back, chillax. What's his name? Robert Pattinson, the vampire.
Cedric Diggory.
Cedric Diggory.
Too soon.
Too soon.
You got the Hufflepuff hat on and everything. All right, that's Trevor.
Alleviated into the next franchise.
That's a double entendre. Don't even ask me how.
So we're just getting into it. Intros haven't even happened. Everyone's talking. I love it. Amazing Batman sipping over there with the Hufflepuff hat on. How you doing?
Absolutely, dude. What's up, my G? Now, we just saw the Batman yesterday. We about to react. We about to review. It might be a 70, 80-minute podcast, so strap the fuck in, baby.
All right. Harvey Scratch. Alex, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing pretty good. You got to remember, rifles are good. Don't forget your cling wrap, because like Trevor said, it's going to be a fire episode.
Hey, what caliber?
What gauge?
What caliber?
Gauge.
Where did you guys get your masks?
You can get them at Gotham Supply Store. Military surplus.
Spoilers ahead, everybody. I'm going to say that before I'm introduced.
Yes, there you go. Tell them who you are.
Go watch the movie, pussies.
Yes. We got a hint at the a spoiler for who the villain is in your name there.
Yeah.
You gotta ask them if they'll riddle this dick. What's going on, David?
What's going on, everybody? It's a mystery. Some sort of mystery going on related to this dick.
I was trying my hardest to segue smoothly, but I don't know. Oh well. Anyway, that's it. That's the cast for your. I didn't say my name. I guess I'm C Batlays, of course.
That's good. G.
Just my name's Cameron. Here for you.
You do a podcast?
Yeah, dude.
Oh shit!
You're listening to it right now and participating in it.
Breaking the fourth wall. I love it. We love to see it.
Do podcasts have a fourth wall? I don't know.
They have a third.
All right.
I don't know. They don't even have walls in the that's.
I thought only Deadpool could do that. But...
Okay.
These walls could talk.
Hey, we like it. All right. With that, we're gonna get into traditions.
Random music references all over the place. We're gonna go into traditions. So I am going to have my boy Alex start us off with a joke.
Okay, I got you on the joke. I got you, my boys. What do you call it when Batman skips out on church? He doesn't go to church. What do you call it?
He's a sinner. He will burn in hell, just like the Riddler said he would see him in.
He's doing the right thing. I don't know.
Oh Jesus,
boy!
We're gonna get some religion takes here. That's good. That's good. All right, what's the answer, Alex?
Alex. I don't know.
When Batman skips out on church, it's called Christian Bale.
My fucking God, bro.
That's so perfect. Oh my goodness.
That is absolutely insane.
Christian Bale.
It was insane.
That's nuts. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Bravo.
Absolutely bravo.
And it's specifically church as opposed to, synagogue or anything. Got to be Christian. That's so good.
Damn.
All right.
Who's going next?
Fantastic. Let's get. I don't think he has a riddle for us. Probably still a track, but realistic.
Unfortunately,
David, what do we got?
Unfortunately,
what do we got this week?
Literally, I mean, I was thinking of all like Batman themes, which I love, but everyone knows all of them if you've seen the movies. Mine is pretty much unrelated. It's gonna be probably my final in my instrumental series for now.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, it is called "Do the Astral Plane" by Flying Lotus. Off of his
Flying Lotus, huh?
Yeah, so this was how I started to get into more instrumental music recently in the past few weeks. I listened to his album Cosmogramma from 2010. He's dope, man. He's very interesting.
The only one I remember is, I think it was like 2017 or 18, and it's got like 22 tracks on it, and they're all like a minute and a half a piece. But
the one
it's
with,
got
like,
Denzel
Kendrick
on a
and...
couple joints. That's the only one I remember.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one too. But
I think there's one called like Black Balloons reprised on there. So.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. He's very interesting. He's a great producer. And this album.
What's this track hold for the listeners?
"Do the Astral Plane" is the name of the track. It's probably the most accessible. It's the one that hit me the hardest on first listen because a lot of the stuff is pretty experimental and out there in a way. You know, infusing jazz and a bunch of other stuff. But this is just straight up a banger. I showed it to Jordan. She said it reminded her of Kaytranada. So Trevor.
All right, you sold me. That's it. You got all you. You had to just say the track and then Kaytranada, and you got me.
There you go.
That's all you had to say.
You were on your way to saying like, so Trevor, you'll like this, and Trevor was like, I'm sold.
You said Kaytranada. I'm in.
It was you got cut off.
Trevor's in. No, Kaytranada.
Check it out. It's a bop.
All right.
Now I gotta listen to Kaytranada because of that connection. So.
I've been singing his praises, man. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the track name? Is it "Do the Astral Plane" or is it "Through the Astral Plane"?
It's "Do the Astral Plane," so it's like it's like a dance move except metaphysical. And weird.
So it's like "Do the Electric Slide," but it's like do the Astral Plane. That's interesting. Cool. I like that.
Gotcha. Do the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
For sure.
I guess.
Do get spoiled when you're walking into the theater and you're Alex looking back at the screen.
I'm so glad we were late, honestly.
That is what happened there.
Goodness.
Cameron, I want to go last if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll go. All right. Just gotta pull it up then. So the fact for this week is a bit of a different one for me because it's technically not a fact. I even there's a the site is called Snooper or something. I'd forget, but they fact check like random media claims and stuff like that.
Snopes.
And so Snopes, that's what it is. Yes, correct. Thank you for letting me shout them out properly. They're going to get so much business from this podcast. I fact check what I'd found about it. So it's an anecdote. It's not actually like fact. So they like the person involved like said it happened, but the person that was there also like didn't comment. So anyway, it's gonna make sense in a second. So Adam West, the actor who portrayed the Caped Crusader in the 1960s Batman TV show, was once kicked out. Oh, this is, by the way, this is the I have to click the box on YouTube where this isn't meant for kids. Every time this is that moment in the show. Was once kicked out of an orgy along with his co-star Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler, because they both got into their characters and refused to break out. So, in a 60s Hollywood orgy, I'll read the quote from the interview and it'll make more sense.
Wait.
This is Adam West in an interview. He said, "Well, I think one of my favorite memories is that Frank and I were invited to a party one night and we decided to go. A Hollywood party we didn't know anything about. We were kind of laughing and having a few beers and said, let's go over there. We walked in and it was an orgy. So I immediately went into the Batman character and Frank went into the Riddler character because we were getting the big giggles. It was so funny to us what we walked into, and we were kicked out. We were expelled from the orgy."
Oh, that's fucked.
So they literally like got in. They went in and got like mad nervous and like giggly, and they were like, "Oh, this is like such an absurd situation that we found ourselves in. Let's make it even more absurd and be our television characters, the Batman and the Riddler." And so they were just.
Wow. That sounds funny. Like a missed opportunity for everybody else involved.
Right? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Because Adam West would have been like, "Yo, I'm deep inside."
Oh goodness.
I'm Catman. What did you say? I'm Catman.
Yeah, they would be riddling this dick up in there.
Nah, they'd be getting it. That's for sure.
Exactly.
There would be no mystery about it.
The Riddler would have been riddling fucking Adam's dick.
Definitely.
Okay. Jesus
Christ!
So,
imagine getting expelled from an orgy.
Kicked out, just sauced. They were like, leave.
Wow. They were in fact not sauced.
They might have been sauced. Yeah. So the Riddler, the guy, like Adam West told that story, and then the Riddler got asked about it, and he was like, oh, like you guys fucking got into it, and he was like, nah, not really, like whatever. Like his answer was more like, I don't want to confirm that about myself, than that never happened, you know.
Yeah.
So it probably happened, which is hilarious. Hollywood in the '60s, dude. It's great.
Yeah, that was sick. When did they get interviewed? Do you remember?
Multiple times. The earliest one I found, I think it might have happened. There was like a newspaper clipping that was like super old about Frank Gorshin like denying it or whatever, but or like saying no. Like the headline was like actor doesn't remember like crazy night out or whatever. It was like, I don't know.
He had a good night then.
It was some dumb shit. Yeah, but I think it was more like he just didn't want to confirm it as opposed to like saying it never happened.
It's like, oh man, that Adam West, he's really a storyteller, isn't he?
So rest in peace, Adam West. I believe he passed away a few years ago now. So.
Shit! I didn't know he was dead.
Yeah, I think he was like 88. So lived a long life, had a great career. My first experience with him being in Fairly Odd Parents, I think he's a character in that.
Who's he in Fairly Odd Parents?
Is it that? Because I was looking at his Wikipedia, but he plays like he is Batman or something. I forget. Like he's like the old retired actor Adam West, but he's always as Batman or something. That might not be Fairly Odd Parents. That might be a different show. It might be Family Guy.
The only time I was aware of Adam West was through The Big Bang Theory, and I don't even think he starred on the show. They just referenced him a few times during the few seasons that I completely binged in high school.
I know he's like a character in Family Guy as himself.
You're right.
I'm sure I feel like he did voice act in a kids cartoon though. I don't know which one.
Yeah, he's the cat hero man that I will hold up to. Yeah, he's literally the cat man. I'll hold it up to the right. Jesus, that's too bright.
Wow.
The cat man.
That's probably my first exposure.
Where he would he would always lick himself and stuff, and like random stuff would happen and be like medium useless or whatever. That's actually, now that I'm putting that all together, hilarious that like they were making that joke like, oh, this is Batman from the 60s like returning as a similar character in this kids show, but none of us watching it understood that was like a reference that they were making. We thought it was just some random absurd character. So that's kind of
another confirmation that kids shows are for adults.
Yeah. No, I mean they're written by adults, so they definitely slide their own jokes in there. It's fun.
Shizzle.
The balloons.
I'm glad that turned into something hilarious. That's great. So yeah, all right, that's mine. So Trev, you're last, and then we dive right into the review.
I don't have a very spectacular words of the day for you guys because I have not been reading. I've been neglecting my reading responsibilities, but I still have 2 words of the day for you guys, and they're very simple, very common words that you hear throughout, especially during this film.
Are they Batman? Man?
Maybe not the second one, but
is it vengeance?
No, it is not vengeance. That was a very good guess, though.
That is a good guess.
But no, these are words that you absolutely should be aware of, and if not, you're not above 8 years old. I don't know, like, so we'll see. So those.
Trevor just on his way to alienate the audience. Just intelligence and religion have already been brought up. We were like 15 minutes in. It's just
we're actually
losing
13
listeners.
Minutes and 5 seconds in. So.
All right, well.
So your first word of the day is hope. It is HOPE, and it is to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or be true, or to desire with expectation of obtainment or fulfillment. And then your second word of the day, which doesn't really have anything to do with the movie, is friend. It is FRIEND, and it is one attached to another by affection or esteemed, or a favored companion. And the reason why I chose friend was because we had the best fucking day yesterday. This is March 6th of 2022 on a Sunday. And your boys, all of us except for Cameron.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's okay though. I'm happy for y'all. I'm happy y'all had a great day. So.
And then we had us 3. We had Rocio's brother Jose, and we had Samir, who's a friend of ours, And then we had Jaden, who's Alex's brother, and Alex's brother's friend, who I cannot remember his name, is Cadell?
Cadell, yeah.
Cadell, okay. So yeah, there was 7 of us. We went to see the Batman together. Then we went to the theme park together, and we had the absolute best fucking time. And I'm still kind of on a high from it. You know, it was one of those great days. So
it was a good day.
Everyone.
We were rolling deep.
Yo, we were big rolling deep. No,
we're gonna have to maybe like a repeat performance sometime in the future, whenever possible.
Absolutely. I know it's very hard for adults to get together, but when it hits just right, it's a wonderful day.
Yeah, and then like pairing a movie with like Universal is just insane.
Always good. We had the best day when we went and fucking saw No Way Home. You know what I mean?
Even Fast and Furious, just it's a good combo.
Yo, you and I with Universal and movies is just it's one of those 99 hit combos, man.
Exactly.
Like vodka and cranberry juice.
Yeah, which is what I'm sipping on right now. So.
Love that.
Yeah, shout out to every single one of you guys. You guys made my fucking day yesterday, including y'all two that are here. I love you guys.
Love you too.
Love you. And shout out to Samir. Nice to meet you, bro. Definitely a really cool dude. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Great time.
I told him that I'd be shouting him out. So he wants to be on the podcast, so maybe you guys will hear his beautiful voice. He's quite the fucking character, man. He's a super cool dude. So. Yeah,
he is aware that no one's allowed to guest on the podcast before they've rated us 5 stars on Spotify and iTunes,
right? He is now. Do that. He is one of those. He's one of those guys.
Absolutely. All right.
No,
that's great.
After we've gotten done talking about every other iteration of Batman and actor who's played, and we're ready to talk about this Batman.
Yes. We're here.
Christian Bale, Adam West. Goodness. All right.
Lego Batman,
Kilmer, but
yeah.
Now we go to Vampire Boy.
Vampire Big Boy. So how were y'all feeling? This was a 3-hour epic movie, to say the very least. It's very long. I was feeling the runtime. I'm not gonna lie, it was quite a long movie.
By the end of it, I had to piss like a racehorse, and when those credits rolled, I raced like a piss horse.
That's facts. That's big facts.
He was gone.
Jumped out of his chair. He's like, "Yo, I gotta pee," and he's fucking gone. He was gone.
He was gone.
My dude was Barry, fucking the Flash.
Goodness. So that's so funny.
I kind of want to see it again. Well, my impression of it really is, I think we have somewhat different opinions because we did talk about it. A lot happened, and almost every scene was plot relevant. So there's a lot to take in for a 3-hour movie. So I don't know if I got overwhelmed, but I do want to see it again because I think it was really good. I like to process stuff.
Yeah. They really do.
You, man. It's so long. Like when I saw Endgame, it was a fucking 3-hour movie, and like I'm a huge Marvel fan, and that was so overwhelming to me. Like I had to rewatch it, and I just rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, okay, that's what led to it. You know, there's like you're like overwhelmed with so much excitement and all this shit, and then you sit there for 3 hours, and you're like, what the fuck happened in like minute 40? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
yes. Right. Drop a spoiler warning right here. Of course, again, just the rest of the episode is just going to be us talking about everything. So yeah, but yeah, they really, they really do spin that web where like they're trying to piece it together. And
wrong hero.
Fair enough.
Freak out of here.
Fair enough. Where they like the whole underground and all the different gang connections and all the different players, and of course, like he's trying to find out information about all of them, and they're all lying about what everyone else is doing, and like you can't tell. And so, yeah, it was definitely a lot of information to like pack in. Where he was like, they get towards the end of the movie, and like one side saying like this is how your parents died, and then he goes and like Alfred comes back from the dead, and he's like, oh, like this is how your parents died. He just like, I mean, yeah, he's not that I was whatever, but yeah, every scene being plot relevant is actually not something I had really thought about until you just said it now, and I would have to agree with you, honestly. I think it like could have been shorter. Like,
no, there's no could have been. It absolutely could have been shorter.
Yeah.
But I mean, so that's my biggest gripe of the movie is that it could have been shorter.
Yeah. So like they could have achieved the same thing with less. So like maybe like all of like 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know. Like there was
as high as like 30.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. There were a lot of scenes where it's like, oh, like we're just still here. Okay. But yeah. Some of the like movement and driving and stuff, but I don't know.
It was okay, so you said movement, right? And that kind of triggers me because like the entire movie kind of felt like it was going at a complete snail's pace in terms of like how they were actually moving and delivering dialogue.
Yeah.
Like Robert Pattinson doesn't deliver more than 15 fucking lines the entire movie, and every one of these lines take at least 10 seconds to get out 4 words. Not to mention every time they open a card from the Riddler, not only do they give you enough time to read the fucking card, they also read it to you. Not to mention, they take 15 fucking years to open the card. They go like this. Shout out to you that's watching on YouTube. They go like this. Oh, you see every detail? Oh, well, I'm about to show you some fucking more. Like
to the
Batman. That's true. Well,
biggest fucking plot hole in the entire movie is that Alfred is some like genius whiz with cryptography and everything, and completely failed to recognize the Riddler's handwriting on the package. Like it's so obviously gonna be something terrible, like from the Riddler. Like that's fucking like he's already set off a couple of bombs like in the movie, and he's just like oh, for Bruce Wayne's eyes only, definitely from the Riddler. I should open this. Like
not only that, he's committing some misdemeanors there, opening mail. That's what I had a problem with because he's just like, let me go through this man's mail. But
as if Alfred hasn't opened every single piece of mail ever addressed to the Wayne family. But yeah,
he is their butler, by the way.
Yeah, but you're right. Technically a federal crime. But yeah, that's not funny.
Trevor had that complaint. I guess I didn't really feel the same when we were talking about it. The scenes themselves are like can get pretty long, but I'm fine with that pacing. I guess I heard somewhere that it was inspired by like film noir, like detective, like old detective movies, and that maybe is closer to that kind of pacing is what they were going for. I mean, that doesn't necessarily make it good or bad, but I wasn't too mad at it because the movie it's just about, I don't know, detail, and you're just watching like the dude, like Robert Pattinson's just acting with his eyes and just
the whole movie. Out. That was that was more than 80% of his dialogue were those brooding looks. Like if looks could kill, that was Robert Pattinson doing the entire Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, so it was to the point where it was a little overbearing, where it was like he was just like staring at you, and it's like, are you gonna say anything? Like, what are you doing? And nothing was said. Like, it's 15 seconds of his fucking eyes, no blinking, and then it cuts to the next scene. It's like, oh, all right, well, fuck me then.
Before we go further with detail, I do want to get the burning question answered. That is, like, in everyone's minds, thinking about this movie is, like, good Batman or bad Batman? Robert Pattinson, does he play the role well?
Good Batman.
Yeah.
I can't really complain too much, except for just the movement.
Yeah, I agree too.
I wish it was a little more swift, but that's just me.
He's good Batman. I will say that like one thing I enjoy about Batman as a character is the fact that he has to play 2 personas, being Batman and Bruce Wayne. Mm-hmm. He didn't do a lot as Bruce Wayne.
No.
Mm-hmm.
There was
good Batman. I liked him as Batman, but like part of that enjoyment for me is that balance, and it wasn't a whole lot of balance. It was just a lot of vengeance.
It was a lot of Batman, yeah. And like it's funny when like those scenes where he's like trying to enter the club. He enters the club as Batman like twice, and then he enters as Bruce Wayne like once. And those fucking twin scenes are hilarious.
They built on them. Like they realized they were doing the same thing over and over, and they made it like a little different each time. It was funny.
Yeah, it was like John Wick-esque almost, where they were like, "Yo, you know me."
They did.
It's you, bro. Like
they did succeed with the pressing the dramatic irony of like all of us know that that's Batman, but no one else knows that that's Batman. So like we're in on the joke, as it were. And so like they set those scenarios up like when he goes to the door and he's like, you know who I am? He's like,
which like at the same time, like I love that you brought that up because that's another, not a gripe, but like his mask doesn't suffice for being a total disguise. It's almost like with Clark Kent having the fucking glasses, where it's like he's got that half mask on, right? But he's got a fucking jawline that could like define like the San Antonio fault, you know, kind of thing, where he's like, it's like an earthquake fucking line. It's shattering.
Goodness.
Like he's got a jaw that is like the definition of a cube, right? But when he takes his mask off, they're like, oh, that's Bruce Wayne. And then when he puts his mask on, he's like, oh, that's Batman. Who the fuck is that? Yeah. And it's like, no one knows that fucking jaw belongs to Bruce Wayne. Are you serious?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's almost like a benefit and like a clue that the idea of him being like super reclusive and no one ever sees him and like whatever like in this movie, that he would be, because the idea with Superman, right, is that Clark Kent walks with a stoop and like is super nerdy and like talks like a background character. He
doesn't wear the costume, basically.
Yeah, basically. Which, you know, whatever. But I don't know. I think it makes it, in the context of the movie, the logic of the movie, it makes sense that like that is a good enough disguise just based off of like the difference in personality, like, you know. So
I know, just it was just it was one of those that just took me out of it. I was like, y'all really can't tell.
They do
like, so he's trying to detect like who, like when they first walk in, right, with the mayor dying, and he walks in that room, and the sheriff the cop stops him. He's like, yo, you know what this freak in here? And then as Bruce Wayne, he's like, yo, man, and he gives him dap. He's like, yo, you Bruce Wayne, man, love you. And like, we were just shitting on you 40 minutes ago, but I still got the same jawline, like that.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was talking about with us being in on the joke. Like that scene specifically, actually, is what I was trying to remember. Right. Is the idea of like he's like, you fucking freak, like when he's Batman, and when he's like Bruce Wayne, he's like, oh my god, like what's good?
Yo,
dude?
Give me that.
Like,
yo, give me a grand real quick, like.
So I did like those moments.
No, they were good. I just wish that his. I wish his mask was a little longer.
Well, yeah, they were good. And speaking of that, which Cameron kind of brought up, and Alex too, I do like the balance. I mean, Christian Bale plays a very different Bruce Wayne, and I like that. But I also like that Robert Pattinson had his own take, where he's like a emo, like reclusive dude, and he kind of walks with a hunch as well, like Clark Kent. Yeah, and he just isn't like, he actually looks like he still has trauma from being a child, and he just hasn't gotten it over it at all.
Obviously, absolutely.
Yeah,
he's so angry in this movie.
I very much like that version of Batman where he is clearly like sick. Like he's not, like he is unwell. Like the fact that he is like in his basement all the time, like calling himself a nocturnal animal, and he has like memory gaps, so he has to write everything down. Yeah, and so like he's clearly like disturbed and doesn't have any sense of like closure with what the tragedy that befell him, you know. And I liked that version of it, and I thought it was played well.
I wanted to say this on the podcast because it was just funny, like being in the movie, but like Samir was sitting on my right, and we were just watching the movie, and it was at a random point in the movie, and I leaned over to him, like it was like a really quiet point in the movie, and I'm like, yo, so what happened to Bruce Wayne's parents? And he caught the bait, right? And he's like, so like, and I like put my hand on his shoulder, like, yo, I'm joking.
That's hilarious, and that's a good point, because Alex and I beforehand, when we were driving there, were talking about like, I made, like, we were talking about like, please don't go over the origin again.
Yes,
and I made a comment like, you know, don't even mention that his parents are dead. But thankfully, I think they did it in a good way, where they have a unique kind of spin on it, and it's just related to like, okay, what's happening nowadays, and they don't show you a second of him as a kid or anything like that.
Yeah, which I definitely agree. It's one of the reasons why I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man so much, is because they completely skip on the bullshit. They don't drown you with the idea of, oh, he has to get bit and he has to go through 40 minutes of training kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's Bruce Wayne now. He's 2 years deep. He's still a fucking noob. He's getting slugged this whole movie. Like there's certain parts, especially when he first visits the Iceberg Lounge, where he's getting punched in the chin. I'm like, ooh, fuck.
I definitely wanted to mention that, where his, like, even at the very first fight scene where he beats up the thugs in the subway or whatever, is like, he just Wow, I just completely lost my train of thought. That's insane. My brain is
Oh,
blank.
wow, because Subway? I see you.
Subway.
Jesus fucking...
God dang.
Don't even ask him how, man. We ain't even going to ask you, man.
Okay, all right. It came back. The train pulled back into the station. When he takes hits, like his combat style isn't like god tier perfection, fuck him up, like you're never gonna be able to touch me. Like he's just a bruiser. Like he's just going straight at them, like not giving a fuck how much he gets hit. And it's like,
yeah, he definitely forgot to hit Y a couple times.
That's for sure. Yeah.
I was gonna ask about certain overlaps with because I haven't played the Batman games, but I think you guys have.
Oh God, that's a blunder on your part. Definitely play the games, but so David, were you nerding out as much as me because you were like 2 seats away, I couldn't see you, but were you nerding out when they said Iceberg Lounge?
I was like, oh dang, they're gonna go there. Okay.
I was like, oh, because you go right there in Arkham City, and I'm like,
I definitely thought of Arkham City. I mean, I did at the beginning too when he's just walking up on a group of guys, and it's like, here we go. He's gonna.
Yeah, right. He's gonna fucking Y him all to death.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I keep watching this, and I'm pretty sure it was recommended to me because this fucking movie just came out. But Donkey's review of Arkham City got recommended to me, and it's just him like with the fucking controller just fucking hitting like triangle and Y the whole time. Just
infamous review.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Great games, but.
Yeah.
No, but that was a cool aspect of him being new. It's definitely nice. The place they put it was probably perfect. And it's like it's a great thing to tie into where he progresses to as a character in the movie. But that is one of the big moments that kind of got flubbed in a weird way because Trevor and I were talking about that false start with the Batmobile, and I don't know if that's what they were trying to do with it. But the Batmobile sequence, I think, is like one of the coolest in the movie.
Oh, for sure.
Or in the movie, I mean. And you have this earlier scene where he, is about to be awesome and jump off the building and glide, and you think it's going to be great. And he fricks it up, and it's like, okay, he's a noob, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But then later, it's like, okay, the freaking beast is about to be unleashed, and he's going to go ham.
Let's not forget the fact that GoPro moment where he's literally gliding, it looked so awkward. It was so awkwardly shot. I wish they would have done something different.
Yeah, the crash was well shot.
The crash was absolutely well shot.
That was money. He got fucked up.
They had like 2 scenes of him, like because they cut like different angles, right? But it goes to him in the GoPro mode, and there's like zero, like it's all stability, like there's no movement, and it's just him like.
But yeah, I did like that moment a lot where you talk about him being a noob or whatever, where he gets there and like that's a scenario that like you can't imagine happening often, right? So they establish with the idea that he like gets up to the top of the building and like gasps and he's like scared of like he almost like he scares himself and then he like pops the flight suit out and it's like okay. It makes sense that he's terrible at this because there's no way he uses his shit on the regular. Like, there's no way he's like on the regular. Like, I think in the games, right, your cape like,
you fucking sprout Batwing.
You just sprout Batwings and glide like across the city, right? Yeah. So
like, you look like a god.
But with this, it was like a legit like squirrel suit that like they use in legit extreme sports. Like it wasn't some. It wasn't some like Batman invented thing. Like it's like fucking in the Winter Soldier too. True. Yeah, that was a great scene in that show.
The first episode where they're all just fucking flying squirrel at y'all ass. Like,
spoiler, not a spoiler, but definitely should entice you to go watch that show because it's fucking great.
Absolutely, watch the show. It's great.
But yeah, so yeah, I love that they established that where it's like he's not God. Like he's not like definitely always gonna win. Like he does just like keep on scraping by and like through extreme force and like his armor and his technology like manages to overpower everyone. But it's not. He doesn't make it look easy. Basically, right? Like it looks like he's fucking fighting his ass off the entire time. Well, I mean, especially like the first one, right? Where it's just street thugs.
It's like 2 hours in and he's revisiting the burned down orphanage.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that scene where it's like that it's like a strobe light where it cuts out the lighting like every few seconds and you just see his punches, like it's almost like frame by frame.
Are you talking about when he's in the club?
No, I think that is
It's literally
after he comes back to the club.
Because I was gonna say I was gonna bring that up. That's one of the few notes I wrote. Is like that's one of my favorite cinematic style shots. Is when the only lighting in the scene is like from the muzzle flash. That's when
not at the club. That's at the orphanage.
That's in the basement of the club.
Yeah, it's at the.
That's when he's going to. That's when Catwoman's trying to kill Falcone, and he's like going to try to stop it.
It is.
Falcone.
I think it's
Falcone. Yeah, thank you for.
It's right after the orphanage, but yeah, there's no goons at the orphanage. I don't think.
Okay, well then we're talking about the same fucking scene because that's
we are. Yeah, it was awesome, and shout out to the trailer for showing every great shot.
I'm very glad I never watched it. I purposefully avoided it the entire time.
I think the only scene that I was aware of was the walking away from the car accident fire shit.
Yeah,
but that was it.
I wasn't aware of any scenes, and that car accident shot is really clean.
Yeah, it's upside down. He's walking away from the semi truck that's upturned, and
it's raining, and it's just like, damn.
Yeah, it's fire. It's cinematic. It's just one of those things you go to see at the silver screen kind of thing.
It was like the pun, he was like a bat out of hell. The fucking Batmobile coming out of the flames, like over the head, and he's like, "There's no way he escapes that," and just out of the flames, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And so, but I do want to talk about, in relation to that, I forgot that in DC movies, civilians just get the fucking business. They get washed, pun intended. They just get, like...
You said civilians?
Civilians.
Like,
random innocent people just get, like, absolutely fucked in DC movies. It's like, and they show it, is what I'm saying. Like, in Marvel, there's, like in the Battle in New York and everything, there's a lot of implied, and a lot of implied death, but they don't like show much of it, and what they do show is like the people getting saved.
What's the Battle of New York?
The first Avengers movie.
I'm joking. Okay. God, you took the bait. You're Samir.
Okay, well, you're the one who doesn't know where the scene you were trying to talk about took place, so.
That's fact, but it was a 3 movies, so suck my dick.
It's a fucking...
And I saw it once.
It's a fucking... How many movies are in the Marvel universe?
26 or something like that. I've seen the first Avengers like 7 times.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, whatever. I took the bait. It's fine. But yeah, just like I couldn't get over the fact that like they have that whole car chase scene and like just gasoline and pallets and everything just exploding on the highway. People are getting fucked up left and right, like whatever. And that's not the guy they actually wanted to go after. He's not the Penguin's not actually the Rat, and then they just leave him there. They just leave him there, like tied up. Like they get something out of it, but like they're trying to stop a serial killer, and they're killing, and he's like actively participating. And I mean, this is the whole vigilante argument, right? Like why a vigilante is dangerous and why like the proper channels are the right idea is because he's like 20 people just died so that he can find.
In this universe, there's no proper channels because the cops are
the cops are completely corrupt. Yeah.
So it's like
no, I was saying like
I know what you're saying.
I was saying the overall vigilante idea that they touch on in every single freaking movie. Like even in like Spider-Man, especially like the Spider Menace. Like
he's gonna sign the Gotham Accords in the Batman 2.
The Gotham Accords.
God dang! I do want to mention now that you brought that up. That's great because I think this movie does the best job of portraying why Batman would be viewed the way he is. Like,
yes, agreed.
He's actually a freak. Like he's a weirdo. Like he walks in. And he's just like staring at stuff, and it's like I get why the cops are like, "Hey, freak, what's going on here?" Like I understand. He doesn't talk much. He's like,
I said, I think he delivered like 15 lines of dialogue the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean,
all like, yeah.
He's
so, what did you get?
You know,
I think you're really cute.
The thing about the cops, and it kind of goes back to how none of them figure out it's Bruce Wayne. But like the scene where like he gets passed out and all the cops bring him into like the jail. Not one cop like said like, "Yo, let's take off his mask." Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's what they're doing like as he wakes up. But I guess like Gordon is like actively stopping them supposedly. But like you're talking about on the way. You're talking about on the way, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Gordon wants to know who he is too. He says it. He's like, I don't even know who you are.
Plot hole.
Yeah.
They're just like, yo, let me. Oh shit! It's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I thought for sure he'd wake up like a few seconds later in the church, but it was like, nah, he's just been out, and they just were staring at him. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's how he gets
We
knocked
talk
out of that
about
bomb.
Homie having no game in the club though, with the white dude that like
the district
approaches
attorney.
fucking Catwoman and he's like, "Yo, you want to come over?" Like,
He's on those drops, bro.
Oh my god.
The drop.
It's friggin'
He's on
wasted.
the drop.
Bro, the way they say drop heads with such disdain the entire movie,
dude,
as if these
dying,
as if these people haven't been entirely abandoned by the system and like literally never had a chance in life, and they're like, drop heads. It's like, bro, like,
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you
why.
mean they were on drops?
It's also
were
the
on
worst
drops.
way to insert a drug is like through your eye. Like that was so fucking
Eye
lame.
drops?
Calling
Yeah.
them drop heads. That was so
they're
horrible.
in are they in
It's not the worst way.
what drug?
Yeah, no, you're right.
There's some other superhero. I think it's one of the Marvel Netflix TV shows where eye drops is like the drug. But I forget.
I
Yeah,
think it's lame as shit. But
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just realized that that's why they call them drops. Because I was like, why do they make up a new name for a drug? And then okay,
they do
that's
'em-
better now.
they do 'em
Yeah,
as
but I
eye
thought
drops,
it was kind
yeah.
of cheesy. Like they were just trying to censor like crack or whatever and just say drop.
Oh.
Okay, now
they
I
were
get it.
literally doing like eye drops.
I was like, oh, he has
oh,
dry
you
eyes.
Trevor.
He has dry eyes.
I did.
Bro, they spent the entire movie telling you exactly what they were doing.
David like David thinks he goes to a fucking like a corrupt club with Vaseline or Vaseline or whatever the fuck it is.
Vaseline.
Yeah.
Vaseline. I don't want to put that in my eye. Jesus.
What's it called? Is it Visalign?
I don't
Clear
know.
eyes.
I know.
Visine.
Visine.
Yeah.
Visine, that's what it is.
Yeah. He's just like, well, I gotta,
Oh, I
Maybe
gotta
rubbing
treat my
Yeah,
Anyway.
there it is.
He's a racer head, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Eraserhead.
Jesus.
Facts.
Yo, spoilers.
That was good.
Spoilers.
Somehow spoiling My Hero Academia in a fucking Batman review.
Spoiling the fact that he uses eye drops, like, bro.
That's far too much. All right.
Can we talk
Goodness.
about the best scene though? So like they apprehend Penguin,
The best
right?
scene?
No, they apprehend Penguin, right? And they're like questioning him, and he's like, "Man, y'all ain't know the difference between L and La," and like he's roasting them, right? And then they get all the information they need, and they're like leaving him. He's like, "Y'all gonna leave me like tied up?" And he fucking wobbles like a
Yeah,
penguin.
True. Right. Fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like I put that together and then forgot about it. But yeah, damn.
I was dying. I couldn't get.
They
over
really
it.
just
Like,
made him a
20 minutes.
penguin
I
because
don't
his
think I
his
know
arms
It was just-
because his arms are stuck in
Yeah.
because his arms are stuck in too and his
Yeah,
and his legs
and
are
his
tied so he
feet.
has to waddle. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Dude, that was they did that a couple times too, where they were like on the nose jokes. I can't remember the other one, but
Yeah. I was surprised by how, like, that's Colin Farrell who plays the Penguin? I had no idea.
that was him.
Yeah, he
Colin
literally,
Farrell.
like, I don't know. like,
So when I was looking up like the cast earlier, I saw him pop up, but I thought he was like in like the '89 Batman. Like
yeah,
Oh my
I think I
God.
heard Samir say he was great in it, and I thought he was joking because he doesn't look or act like Colin Farrell in any way at all.
Right,
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean his face is completely movie
Yeah.
made up.
Prosthetic
That's
up,
crazy.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I
No, I had
was
no
just
idea that was him.
surprised, like, they really went for that humor, like over the top, like, if you want to say comic book type, just humor in the middle of this like dark movie, and I appreciated it. It was
I was glad.
too.
Yeah.
quite funny.
Yeah, they needed the
and it
the-
wasn't like Marvel humor where it was like one-liners. It was more like physical humor
situational
for the most part.
Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't like one-liners where it was like a super uncomfortable, like almost like a pressing situation. They were like, "Oh, you like ice cream too?" Like kind of shit like that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I remember the theater laughing was like when they're looking at the first crime scene and he's just in the way of the policeman and the policeman's like, oh, like what the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
But yeah, random moments like that. They were good.
the
They're
thumb
good
drive.
little palate
The
cleanser.
thumb
Oh
thumb
yeah,
drive was definitely the first part
Yeah.
that I remember the
that's
audience
one of
being
my
like, "Yo,
that's one of my
hilarious."
favorite lines / like interactions in the movie is when Gordon's like he's like because Batman freaking delivers it so deadpan where he's like
Drive.
this and he's like, oh, this guy's freaking hilarious. Like
Yeah.
he's just like he's so done with like the fucking twisted sense of humor. He's like, god damn this fucking city. Like
He's like looking like he's like, yo, I'm looking for a USB, and like Gordon's like, the fuck you looking for a USB for? And then he
Yeah.
opens it up. He's like, I'm Drive.
Yeah, because the code was Drive, and so that tells him go to the car, but it also tells him what he's looking for. The riddles were good. Yeah. I liked the riddles a lot. The clue, because it made sense. They were difficult enough to like have to think about and everything, and not get on the spot, but like not so insane that it makes no sense that he's figuring it out. Like you can conceivably say like, oh, Batman is so like studied and thinks about this kind of stuff that he would, you know, like be a good opposition to the Riddler, which is the entire reason that character exists. I think it's the greatest detective versus the greatest, you know, trickster, clue lever. Yeah.
Which, yeah. Now that we're on this topic, I think the Riddler was a pretty great villain.
He was excellent.
Yeah, there's a couple, like, I guess, docs that I'll give him. One would like be the mask. I didn't really exactly give a shit about his costume. I thought they could have done a hell of a lot more than that. Yeah, I thought it was a little corny. It was super like ad hoc almost.
Initially, I thought it was going to be because he had the fucking thing with the duct tape, which that initial scene with him like over the body where it looks like he's about to fucking like unbuckle his belt or something, but he like pulls out like the duct tape instead. It was just bizarre as shit. Made me mad uncomfortable.
On that. So like I think I literally walked into the theater as he's pulling duct tape out. Like, we were super late to the film, but.
Damn. Yeah, what you missed is he just watches him through the window, comes in through the skylight, stands behind him for like 20 seconds, and then like finally just kills him, hits him in the back of the head. And they make a point. I don't know if you saw this part. They make a point where like they have that one clue where like Batman, like no one else know, like the whole thing of like only Batman would notice these things. Where like the crime photographer is taking all the photos of the crime scene, and Batman walks over to the blood splatter that's like cornered on the floor. In the separate room, they have a distinct scene where they show the tool like go across the room and land there, and they like make a narrative point. But so I don't know why I'm explaining it. It doesn't matter.
He's the world's greatest detective.
But yeah, it sets up stuff like that where it's like, oh, only things he would notice, and it's they keep on going with that where he's the only one who can figure out the clues as opposed to the police. Not that the police are trying particularly hard.
I read an article that when he was filming, Robert Pattinson didn't realize that Batman was noted the world's greatest detective.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He wasn't even aware of that fact until like, you know, however long he was into filming. But I thought that was hilarious because the games are literally like centered around him being the best detective because you can hit one button and it goes to detective mode and there's fucking like fingerprints and footprints everywhere. Like that's how you play half the game.
Yeah, but that doesn't exist. That basically doesn't exist in the Bale movies. I know, like where he's just. Like
he's a detective,
especially the Dark Knight Rises. Like the Dark Knight Rises is just the like there's no like figuring out anything. Like Bane just comes and is in their face, and that's the conflict. You're welcome, David. I wish I could say I did that on purpose, but I realized as I was saying it. But oh well.
Riddled his dick.
Riddled his dick.
Dang.
Get Bane to come in your face.
Yeah.
With that.
But anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because it's like the most detective-y freaking Batman movie ever, and the Riddler. I guess people are saying, I don't know if this is a confirmed or just what people are saying, that he's like based on the Zodiac killer in this movie, which makes a lot of sense when you look at like the ciphers he leaves. Yeah,
that makes sense. The Zodiac killer didn't invent cipher killing, like
right?
I guess, but you know,
yeah.
He's just well, maybe he did. I don't fucking know. Maybe he's just the first most famous one. I don't know.
But I was thinking maybe his costume is too, like that. I don't know if it's supposed to be leather or whatever, just like that full.
With the glasses.
Suit. Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent. But
interesting.
I thought it was mad corny, but
I get it.
I don't really like them basing stuff off real world like killers. I don't know. It's just kind of dark to me, like actually dark.
See, I don't know if it's actually based. I think people were just saying it reminded them of that. Yeah. So don't take my like confirmation of that or anything. But,
yeah.
I guess I have the opposite take because the movie was going for obviously such a dark tone that like that sense of realism might have added to the fact that it was a dark film kind of thing, you know.
I know. Well, they could still make it realistic.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I would say it would make sense. I wouldn't have thought that they would have based it off of him, like study the Zodiac killer and like be like, oh, we should include like these few things so that we like like encaptures him. I don't think they would have done that, but I think it makes sense to say like that it's a Cypher serial killer. Like it makes sense that like that's where your mind would go. So they probably like were fine with it being reminiscent of that, or like allowed it to go that way. So yeah.
Did we like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman?
That she was fine.
Yeah.
The only complaint I had was that she just needed a better mask.
True.
Her mask was trash. It looked like a fucking sock with holes in it. Like.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a cut skull cap or something.
It was horrible.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's not a disguise.
And it was just over her nose too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a disguise. Like the nose is not the distinguishing feature of your face. Like.
Yeah. So I don't know, but even like it covers her nose, but it also like shows the profile of her face and stuff. So it's like
mad shit. It showed mad shit. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it technically like for her, it doesn't really matter that much because the idea is like she just wants to obscure her face because she's a cat burglar, right? Like her idea is to be unseen the entire time, no matter what. Right. So like she has something to cover her face so that if she gets spotted or something, it's not obviously her. But she's always like trying to be in the dark, always like lurking in the shadows, as it were. I am the shadows. No, but
Batman is literally the shadows.
Batman walks into the fucking iceberg lounge and punches 18 people in the fucking mouth. Like
that's fair.
Yeah, like Catwoman never goes hand to hand. It's always like sneaky. I mean, not never hand to hand, never directly into like a brawl. Like she throws knockout kicks and that's about it.
They're trying to visually.
I liked when they gave her the chain.
Yeah, they're trying to show that she's poor because that's
or not. Yeah.
She has. But if she can afford a whole fucking leather suit, she can afford a leather mask.
That's the one thing is like
cop out.
It just
Perhaps.
like it made sense exactly what you're saying, David, is like she doesn't have the resources. Like this is the difference between someone who can't pay their rent and someone who like has $1 billion fucking dollars, and this is the equipment they show up to fight crime with.
I get it,
and
but
so they have that juxtaposition.
But the mask shouldn't be the fucking defining feature that like gets cut from that budget.
I agree with you. Like if you go that hard on a fucking skin tight leather suit and boots and everything, like. You can go with the mask too, like
the budget for that. Yes,
yeah,
and about 30 different wigs.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And about 30 different wigs, true. But
yeah, she was doubling as a fucking escort. So
yeah.
So
that's true. I mean, I thought she played it really well.
I did too.
I just like she was like I think her acting was the best part of the character. It's interesting that like she was intertwined with the Falcone stuff, but like. Generally, the writing was just like, oh, okay. They put like standard Catwoman in the movie, like cut and paste her from the Arkham games or the comics. Like they didn't really do anything crazy with her with the writing. But
yeah, I mean,
maybe they just wanted like a solid representation of her because the other ones have been so crazy in like and stuff.
I think the reason why I disagree with that, like the whole copy and paste thing, was because I don't think she was overly sexualized like the other, at least in the games.
True. Yeah.
Like she's incredibly like even in Justice 2, like she's stupidly sexualized to the point where it's like that's her like entire personality. She like absolutely had humble beginnings. She had a reason for being in the movie, so she wasn't just a love interest per se. She had her own motivations, which made her a more complex character, which I definitely appreciated.
And in my opinion, she was thankfully barely a love interest. Like the fact that they didn't really try to go down that road with
twice.
They kissed twice, and both. I mean, the second kiss made more sense, I think, than the first one. The first one was just like,
the first one was kind of
there's so much tension. They have to kiss now. Is what it felt like. Like
that's literally what the whole
like he pins her down on a table one time during a fight, and then like he's dark and mysterious the rest of the time, and like that's your reason for kissing him, I guess. I don't know. Like
you're so right. That's the perfect way to describe it. There's so much tension. They just have to kiss because it happens in so many movies where it's like. I hate you, you frick, and it's like they could have met one day ago, but if they're in this situation, they just end up kissing.
Yeah.
But they did meet the whole movie takes place within a week.
Yeah.
Like it was like it starts at Halloween and it ends November 6th.
Yeah.
So they barely knew each other.
Yeah.
They didn't know each other. They did not know each other.
She doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah, no.
That's another thing, because a lot of iterations of Catwoman, like, no, she knows she's Bruce Wayne.
Right. This one doesn't.
And
I'm sure they'll reveal that soon. But
she goes on to like be like, "Hey, run away with me. Let's start a life together." At the end of the movie, and she still doesn't know who the fuck he is. Like, she doesn't know a single ounce about him. And for all she knows, he wasn't lying when he said he was hideously scarred. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a funny little moment too, where she's just like, "Are you just hideously scarred?" And he's just like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
or whatever he says.
He's got. I mean,
that would have been his 16th line of dialogue.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, he's got enough eyeshadow he's got a lifetime's worth of eyeshadow on one night. So
yeah,
man just buys a fucking bag of Kingsford charcoal for the grill and just like rubs it all over his face. I don't know. It's
he's just checking out at Home Depot like another big weekend for me.
At fucking Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yo, imagine seeing Bruce Wayne pop up with the Batmobile like, yo, this guy.
Nah, bro, he's got Amazon Prime. I'm sure.
That's true.
If you're just fucking,
what's his alias under Amazon Prime?
What an absurd scene that would be if you're just a fucking like clerk at a CVS or something, and fucking Batman pulls up in the Batmobile in his full suit and comes in and buys only eyeshadow and face black and then leaves, and you're like, what the fuck just happened to me?
I can see that being like a humorous part of like a Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
You know, I can totally see, especially Spider-Man 3 with him just doing the
after credits scene where of Avengers 1 where they're at the shawarma place.
All right, we're gonna bring this up.
Crazy.
So, all right, so we went to Five Guys like super late at night, early like last night after we watched the movie and we did all the theme park shit. And our friend Samir, like he's just sitting there, you know, doing his thing, you know, do your thing, and he's just like, yo. So this reminds me of like when that Avengers that one after credit scene.
That's so funny.
Shawarma, and I'm like, it blew my fucking mind because I had the exact same thought, but I didn't realize it. And he was saying it as I was thinking it, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that's exactly what this looks like.
It was a perfect comment because we were eating,
chowing down.
We were all chowing down, completely silent.
Yeah.
Just after a long day.
Dude,
that's so
spot
good.
On.
Pictured it perfectly. That scene is legendary.
Goodness.
Yeah. So
that's excellent. Another thing I wanted to talk about. I like the tech a lot. Including the Batmobile, like the very gritty muscle car Batmobile as opposed to the super insane futuristic Batmobile.
The tank.
Which when I was looking for my my fact, one of the ones I almost went with was apparently during the Christian Bale movies when they were filming, a drunk driver thought the Batmobile was an alien spaceship coming to land and purposefully crashed into it to like stop the aliens from landing. I don't know if he was just drunk or if he like was literally also kind of insane. But
that also sounds like a really hard and awful cop out of like, yo, I'm DUIing, but like I saw aliens.
True, but apparently I don't know. Christian Bale believed him at the very least because that's how it came out. Was in an interview with him. But
it doesn't sound like he's trying to justify it. It sounds like he was like driving down the road.
But yeah,
not that it's good to be doing that. He's like, oh shit, there's aliens.
But apparently that happened. But I love the muscle car like blue fire NOS like type of Batmobile. It looked fucking dangerous, and that was great. And that they introduced it super well. Where like the entire movie, you're like, they have to have the Batmobile. At some point, we're going to see the Batmobile. The Batmobile doesn't exist
to his
in the movies. It has to be there.
Like, they even have early on. They have him in the Batcave, and it's under like drapes. So it's
yeah. You're right.
Yeah, right. And so when they introduce it, and it's like he takes a shot or whatever, and then like takes a shot, lol, takes a hit, and then disappears. And then he's just like in the Batmobile, and it like fires up, and it looks like it's reminiscent of like Ghost Rider, like the freaking Nicolas Cage movie, the fiery motorcycle in the dark.
Awful,
but
awful film.
Yes.
All right.
Well, this is what I was going to talk about earlier.
But yeah, I agree. The tech is cool with the where I think they didn't go like off the deep end.
Wait, let David speak. David's
going to talk. Sorry. Go ahead.
About the Batmobile, right?
Okay, yeah.
My favorite Batmobile, real quick.
I was going to loop right back, but yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to be mad disrespectful. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You're mad disrespectful. It's okay.
I'll let you. You can loop back.
No, go. Because we're on the Batmobile, and I can do my other stuff after. So go.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say this is what. I kind of already said it, but what Trevor and I were talking about with like he has that false start in the Batmobile, and it kind of ties into the bigger themes of the movie where they're trying to show him as a noob.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's kind of like the midpoint of the movie, and I feel like showing that progression better would just be like he like during the scene he's freaked out anyway, and he's like, oh my god, I'm crashing into stuff, like this is nuts. So just it's a big pet peeve with entertainment where they're going to have this big moment and they like cuck it for a story reason that they don't really need to. Like they just he's like about to just slam into him and it's like and like go.
Yeah, I agree. It was weirdly delivered because the music itself, like we'll talk about the score in a second because it deserves its own bit of sunshine. But that like the score is like crescendoing to like an almost climax point, and then it's like, oh, he false starts. It was like a complete blue balls moment for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, it's like the best introduction to the Batmobile ever, and it's like,
and it was kind of like.
It's like what the fuck?
Because it's like what just happened?
Yeah, it was.
I didn't realize what was happening.
It was almost like a deleted scene that got through editing. It was weird. It was so weird.
It's very interesting. So you guys are talking about when like it very
when he confronts the Penguin.
when he's in like the first time we see the Batmobile, right? And he like moves forward like a couple inches and then it like cuts.
If
out.
That, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think that was a false start. I didn't realize that that's. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. But I was looking at it as like Batman being like, "Run, bitch!" Like as like I'm gonna come get you. Like you better get your ass in gear, kind of a thing. Which like doesn't make sense except for the narrative structure in order to have a car chase. But I guess that makes what you guys are saying makes sense in the logic of like that's why we had to have a car chase is because he false started or whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah, because he wouldn't like Bruce Wayne is not that hero where he like needs that bit of like, spotlight where he's like, yo, there's a big car chase kind of thing. Like, he's gonna run you down like if he has to. So like no that.
So that's interesting because that makes that scene make more sense and less sense to me because now I'm in the same boat as you guys. Is like, why the fuck would you do that?
Exactly.
But I was in my own boat of why the fuck would you do that because of the logic of, like you said, Batman as a hero like wouldn't fucking do what I said, which is like taunt at him basically.
I had thought because I entertained that possibility too, and I mean basically I went down the same route except I was like, oh no, that doesn't
Doesn't make sense.
Why wouldn't he just go for him?
Yeah,
I mean, also, like, even if you're setting up the scene just from a cinematic perspective, like, just have the tension and release. Like, make the story so that can happen. Like, you don't need to, like, complicate it in that moment. Like, just have, like, it's already a complicated detective story. Like, have, like, a dude punching you in the freaking face, equivalent. Like, just
it absolutely deserved the big
payoff,
shebang. Like
the payoff.
Yes, the fireworks display. That's what it needed, and it kind of fell flat. But other than that, the car chase was pretty great.
It was, yeah.
Except for the massacre of civilians.
The cinematography was pretty cool.
As dope as the Batmobile looks, Dominic Toretto is going to be using that in the next Fast and Furious movie.
That's facts. He's going to send that to space somehow. I personally don't prefer it over the Dark Knight's Batmobile. I think the Dark Knight Batmobile is like the top shit. I don't think it's ever gonna be topped. I think it's a fucking tank. It looks cool as shit. It's got like 9 fucking wheels for no reason. It's dope as fuck.
I mean, he does go like sideways at one point, right?
It'll never be top for me.
And the bike too, like the
fam. That will never be top for me. I'm sorry.
The bike is good.
I like the humble beginnings of the Batmobile, where it's almost like a Dodge Charger pimped the fuck out.
Yeah.
Basically,
it's intimidating.
Man.
Yeah. I like that this one's kind of vulnerable, but I get that the Tumbler is.
Well, this one's definitely more realistic, and
for sure. Yeah, the Christian Bale one is just chef's kiss, man.
So before we went back to what David was saying, that's exactly what I was going to say in terms of realism was with the technology in the movie. If you guys are good segueing away from,
I'm good to segue to P real quick.
Okay.
All right, so we were discussing the new modernized tech that isn't exactly out there to substantiate the fact that the Batmobile doesn't look as crazy as the Christian Bale Batmobile. Keep going.
Yes, I love like insane tech, like tech that just doesn't exist within a concept of reality, like in our actual world. Seeing stuff like that is some of my favorite part of. For YouTube listeners, you know what I'm laughing at. Anyway, YouTube watchers, but like one of my favorite, like one of my favorite parts of Black Panther was all the ridiculously cool technology that they got to unveil with them having vibranium and everything, and just all the Avengers movies. Like, my favorite part of Iron Man 3 is seeing all the different ridiculous suits that he's built and everything. And so, so yeah, like I love like tech that's way the fuck out there, but I also love seeing stuff that's like cutting edge that could exist in our world. Like the idea, like the camera contact lens was dope because it wasn't like fucking 4K, like super like absurdly clear. Like it was super subtle and very cool, but it also like was its own kind of little thing that wasn't like god tier, but was super cool. That and all his gear basically, like we talked about the wingsuit earlier. The fact that the wingsuit was just like a wingsuit that you would do extreme sports in, like and not like in the games where you just like flap your cape out or whatever and you just go for miles.
Yeah, the battering on his chest.
And
or
the
battering in his chest.
Juice. The Bane juice.
Is that the adrenaline shot?
That was the adrenaline shot.
Okay, so that's the one thing I was going to ask you about is, does that exist in the game? Because that seems exactly like a video game mechanic.
It's not. It doesn't exist in the games.
It's canon though.
It's canon in like previous Batmans.
He doesn't shoot adrenaline to reheal. I don't remember how he heals in the game, honestly, but
yeah,
it's Batman canon though. Basically, like it's established that your Bane uses like that fluid or whatever.
Yeah.
It's literally like the, at least in the Injustice 2 variant of Bane. He's literally got like 7 tubes hooked up to him, and he's got like a fucking respirator. Like it's nothing but fueling his adrenaline shot. Like he's like a junkie.
Yeah,
that's the general. Yeah, it's I think Venom is like the name of the drug or whatever. Venom, but. I didn't make the connection that it was Bane juice, but it is like glowing green, isn't it? So
it's damn near Mountain Dew.
So I don't know.
Setting that up, that's a clever way to do it. I mean,
he's got tasers in his gloves too. Like
I wasn't going like
what in his gloves?
Tasers.
Oh yeah.
I forgot.
Dude, because I think he gets shot one time and he like fucking electrocutes the shit out of the guy like on a metal pole. He's like.
Yeah, I think that was the very first fight scene. Yeah. But
which that is in the video games directly.
Which right. I read. I don't have the source, but you can probably Google it. Supposedly during filming with that scene in the subway, he has that thing where like apparently the original script was the thug goes like, "Who are you supposed to be?" And he goes, "I'm vengeance," and then beats the shit out of everyone. But as like a directive choice, fucking Pattinson himself was like, "I think I should beat the shit out of this first dude and then say I'm vengeance and then proceed to like ruin everyone else." Because it's like, it's significantly more terrifying. Like when he just like, this is a gang of dudes whose strength is in numbers and picking on weak people and whatever, and they see like some random dude come out of the shadows. He's like, "Oh, like what the fuck is this guy?" And you see him just absolutely eviscerate one of the dudes in your group. And so
he literally slugs him like 7 times. Like, "Oh, I don't kill, but I'm gonna put you in traumatic brain injury, like fucking ER like condition. Like you're never gonna walk again." By the way,
I do not kill, but if I happen to point your gun that you're holding at your buddy and you pull the trigger, that's on you.
Yeah, that happens.
If I make your finger pull the trigger, it's. Yeah, and I don't know. It's always the double standard with Batman that they talk about. There's countless examples, I'm pretty sure, of Batman killing people and I think the line is like, if you murder a murderer, the number of murderers in the world stays the same.
By 2, and or stays the same. Yeah,
and then,
something like that.
But then the joke counter argument is like, but what if I murder multiple people? It's like then it's But what if I murder multiple murderers? Then I'm taking out murderers. I'm only the one guy. Yeah.
I don't know. The kid in me wanted that first scene to be like, "I'm Batman," but I knew it wasn't gonna.
But yeah, happen. He's like, "I won't kill you, but I will shoot this grappling hook through your knee and ruin your ability to walk for the rest of your life." Like that's gonna happen. Like, he does that to like 8 different dudes.
He will slug you with freight train capacity. Like he'd be like, "No, you're still alive, man. You're breathing." Like
with fucking armored gloves. Yeah, that was like at the end of the movie when he does do that adrenaline adrenaline shot and like beats the fuck out of the one guy. He hits him like as hard as he can on adrenaline, like 8 times square in the nose, and the guy's just like kind of bruised up. Like your teeth are gone, your nose has been impacted into the back of your skull. Like if you're gonna make him that violent, like I guess it's a PG-13 movie, so they can't like they blurred some of the stuff like as to spare the audience of like unnecessary gruesomeness, as well as like the fact that it was a PG-13 movie, which they used their one F-bomb pretty well. But
they could have benefited from it being a rated R movie, and
I think so too.
Balls to the wall, like Logan style almost.
Yeah,
that would have been sick as fuck.
Yeah, Logan. Yeah, damn. True.
Cool.
Not the Logan. Logan's fantastic.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie. Yeah.
Oh, you got to, dude. I'm not even like fucking mutants. What are they? What's the series called?
X-Men.
X-Men. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Jesus.
I do that where I remember all the details about a thing and can't remember the single like central idea. I don't know.
Mutants.
Whatever. Hey, mutants. Yeah.
What are they, variants?
Nah, bro.
No, we're just naming all the Marvel shows right now.
Yeah. Watch fucking
Loki
watch
as well.
Logan, man.
I will.
Tank.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they could have gone, but they it was like as dark and gruesome as a PG-13 superhero movie can be, basically.
It's as dark as it can get.
Yeah.
They did a good job making the Riddler pretty scary and.
We talked about that earlier. I wanted to say he plays his psychopathy very, very well. Like the idea of like he's super calm right until he's not. Like he's just like gets overwhelmed by rage. That's a very like telltale like psychopathic trait where the flipping and
there were a couple moments where I cringed just because of his delivery. Like sometimes his screams just kind of felt a little like flat and cringe and like schoolgirly, but I don't know. Like there were a couple moments where I was like, he could have done that a little better. But
was it cringe for anybody that he was a Twitch streamer?
Yeah, honestly, I could. I get the whole like just the realist take that they have on that, where like, you know, that kind of influence can definitely direct people to act as insane as they did. But I don't like the Twitch streaming.
Some of the technology scene, like some of the like website and like streaming stuff, like it looked like you described what a stream is to a person and that had never seen it, and then they wrote it up. Right. Where he starts his live stream and it starts ticking up steadily from 0 viewers to like several thousand,
4,
and like
000, yeah.
and but they also
the TOS?
The TOS.
Yeah, he's talking about, so thank you so much for your advice.
That was so funny, dude. That was honestly hilarious.
On detonators and I got your duct tape too. Like
that was honestly like one of the probably the funniest part of the movie to me, where he's like he does these
super character.
Well, that's the idea, right? Is he has this character that he puts on to make the videos and to be super fucking scary, but then he's just a fucking guy. Like it's just some random. He's like, thanks for all your tips, guys. Like, because it literally started like that video. Like you're expecting it to be like another like insane thing, and he's just like, what's up, guys? Like the fucking classic YouTube intro. It's like, oh my god!
And it's time for another Destiny 2 Crucible gameplay.
That was like probably I didn't see that coming like whatsoever. Like that it was just gonna be a normal little thing. But then the cop is like on the computer and he's got like 500 followers. It's like, all right, like does that mean something to anyone? Like, do we know what platform we're talking about? Like, is 500 a lot or a little? Like,
we were making that joke too because like Alex says, he's got like 1,000 followers on fucking IG, and we're like, fuck out of here, homie.
Wiki numbers.
This guy's got like 500 followers, which is a lot when all of them are coming to commit domestic terrorism.
True.
But
that's true. Not a single person who comes across this page is like, this might be a problem. They're just all like, you know what? I'm gonna join the cause too.
Yeah, 500 isn't a lot of whatever, but it is a lot of terrorists. 500 is a lot of terrorists.
Yes, absolutely.
I think they did it pretty well. I think it's a cool plot element. I think the one part that threw me off the most was when they're like in his apartment and stuff's about to go down, and they're like, he's been posting videos all night. Like they just were like, what's happening, bro? Like the plan is in progress. He's like the most infamous killer in the city, and it's like, oh, wait a second. What's going on here? Like,
and like van just started blowing up out of nowhere.
And like he's an agent of chaos, so like even the dirty cops should technically be doing their job to catch him. Like it's,
But then it's like, but then at the same time, he said, because there's like a part where he's like, by the time everything goes down, you know, I will be apprehended by the authorities.
That was part of his plan to be captured.
Yeah, but why? He literally got himself like he like just was chilling.
A good point. I guess he thought.
Why did he get it? Why did he let himself?
I mean, he says the Batman like will be safe in here, like as the city burns, because the idea was to kill like the vast majority of the city. So,
yeah, I guess
that he says the Batman like, no, we were supposed to be safe in here while we watched everything, while we watched it all.
So like, I'm just gonna say this before I forget this because it's completely unrelated. But like, there was a scene where he's in the where he's in Madison Square Garden. And he's like hanging.
Madison Square Garden.
Well, Gotham Square Garden. That's what they call it.
Yeah, I know.
MSG.
And Gotham Center is styled as Times Square as well, which was cool. It looked nice.
But he's like hanging on the thread of the fucking jumbotron or whatever it was that was like shooting electricity and shit. And he like takes his batarang out of his chest and he cuts the line. And stupid ass me was like, why would you do that? They're gonna get electrocuted in the water. But then I was like, oh shit, in the water, so it doesn't fucking electrocute him. I was like, stupid as fuck. But it was framed like he was gonna die. It was so weird. It was like, damn, he's fine.
It was
20 feet.
It was framed like it was his like ultimate hero sacrifice that was definitely gonna kill him, and like that was his like his glorious exit from the world. And
like
it's just
Christian
like,
Bale.
oh, he fell 20, like he got zapped and fell 20 feet in the water,
and
then just stands
like
up.
a dog 4 fucking seconds later. I'm like, fam, he's fine.
Yeah. No, I had the same exact thought process, and I would have been sitting there scratching my head like, if I kind of just gonna fall, what do I do? But you know, he thought pretty quickly. It is really funny because I was like, okay, you know, if it's framed as if it's a sacrifice, but he miraculously survives, that's great. But like, yeah, he's not really in that much danger.
That was the least dangerous thing he did all fucking movie.
Technically, the most dangerous part of it was the fact that he was putting metal to the electricity, which would have then electrocuted him. But I guess he didn't get that electrocuted, and so he was therefore fine.
He's grounded.
Like, I don't know.
I guess he is. Yeah,
he was aired.
Definitely kept his boots on the ground. Yeah,
I do like maybe like 30, 45 seconds later where he's leading the group of people out of the wreckage, and it's like that shot where it's like it's over the water that's like encompassing the arena.
So
and it's just him with the flare, and he's just waddling through, and you see like constant people. They're almost like a zombie crowd of just people following him. That was such a dope fucking shot.
It was.
The cinematography of this movie is really great. Like just the camera angles and the color grading that they choose to go with. It's really nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. A fun fact about that shot: it was in the trailer. So.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I'm so glad I didn't watch it. Jesus Christ.
Would that be in the trailer?
But that scene.
Why? Y'all, wait, Cameron, shut up.
Yeah, you're
Hold
good.
On
You're
for a
good.
second,
You're good.
Takes
David.
everyone. Yeah, he's not even drinking anything.
Yeah, he's gonna say he's choking on nothing.
Come on, man.
Take some. Everyone, go watch the Shining trailer from 1980. Take some notes, and then make your trailers for the movie. Don't fucking show everything that's gonna happen in the movie as a trailer. That's not a trailer. That's the movie. And rent.
It almost seems to have become habit. Is like show all the coolest things. It's like don't like why are you not saving any fucking payoff for the movie? Like,
nothing.
I guess because the goal of the
fucking Riddler getting thrown in jail. It's like now I know what the fuck you're worried about. Like
the goal of the trailer is to get you to the theater, and then once you're there, they don't give a fuck. It's like whatever.
I mean, to kind of
fucking suck ass.
If I may circle back to the Riddler, probably the biggest head scratcher for me of the whole movie is when he's talking to the Riddler, and the Riddler makes it seem like he knows he's Bruce Wayne, but then he doesn't know he's Bruce Wayne.
True,
Facts.
we haven't talked about that at all yet.
Minute sequence where he's like, yo, Bruce
Wayne.
Like he said it like 7 times, and it's framed like he knows, and then it's like,
Like, we didn't get him.
How wild would it have been if they decided where it's just like Batman? He's like, "How did you know it was me?" And he's just like, "What the fuck? It's you!"
Yeah. That scene is very interesting. Yeah.
With his fucking eyeliner and shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like,
how did you know? How'd you figure it out? I left no clues.
I would have enjoyed it a lot more if he did figure it out and he was like actually knew that he was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
because I was like, wow, yeah, because if they revealed it in the first, like in this movie, I'm like, wow, that's crazy consequences. I don't know what they're gonna do after this.
Almost
yeah,
like
I mean that's what he says. Is he's
Yeah.
like, oh, this could be coming to an end, and he's like, what? Like the Batman, like the idea of me being able to do this, like could end right now, and it's like it seems like there's gonna be more movies than this. I didn't think that was gonna be a one-off. Like, so what's happening here? How's this gonna play out?
There's definitely gonna be more, at least one more.
I mean, they teased the Joker, so yeah.
Yeah, but that Riddler scene, it makes it seem more like he knows it, because in his apartment it's like, who's the Batman, and then it has the picture of Bruce. That's the only part that throws me off.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
so
it's like,
was the question mark circled with the kid with the long hair and the glasses, is that Bruce?
Bruce doesn't wear glasses.
No, but I thought I saw a picture of Bruce, but maybe you're right and it was someone different, because that makes
because I thought it was Bruce, but then I realized Bruce never would have spent time at the orphanage because he was filthy rich, so there was no need for him to go to an orphanage.
Which was the whole point of why the Riddler hates Batman, or like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And the entire reason I thought he might have figured out who it was, because he says something about like, if only I knew then what I know now, and stuff like that. Is like the idea of being like, oh, like I had no idea Bruce Wayne was right next to me and he was going to become the Batman, and like, oh, like whatever.
Doesn't he speak to him like he's talking to him, because he's like, you don't know what being an orphan is?
Yeah, kind of.
It was a weirdly delivered scene, man.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if that is not a picture of Bruce, then it does make sense to me. I think it's a pretty well written scene, because it's supposed to pull the rug out from under you, because the way he's talking is like he could be talking to anyone.
It's
like,
yeah, it is
like, it's like you initially think he's addressing him as Bruce, but he's just saying Bruce doesn't know what it's like to be an orphan. This is why Bruce is my antagonist, but like you're my friend, because it's revealed he thinks Batman is like working with him, basically.
Exactly. That's the crux of that scenario making sense, is he thinks he's just chatting with his good friend Batman, like, and talking about like Bruce Wayne, like that's the only one we didn't get. And then goes on his long rant about like that's not what a real orphan is, because like of course his good friend the Batman will listen to like his gripes and sorrows and everything. But obviously the entire time the entire audience thinks he's just like berating Batman to Batman's face, like we think he's like going on this rant as a personal attack against the person in front of him, but he hasn't realized that actually. So yeah, it's subversion of expectations. Exactly.
I just feel like if anybody in the entire universe could figure out who Batman is, it would be the mastermind behind all these crazy things, which I would have been satisfied with though. And then I mean, he gets locked up in Arkham, so then everybody would think he's talking crazy. Like, I don't know.
No, I'm in full agreement with Alex, but
I did like how they did make it make sense of where they led you so far down the path of he definitely knows, where the I know the real you part, where like Batman is the only one looking at the board and like seeing like the little notes that he knows is left for him, and the police are just like clueless or whatever. And then he has the whole speech of like, this is the real you right now. The real you is the you with the mask. And it's like, oh, okay. He was doing that. All right. I guess.
And I mean, and they do that a few times in the movie, where they kind of just, where you don't know as an audience as you're watching it until like it happens. But I already think they did that well already with the whole Alfred thing, because like they want you to think it's happening at the same time, but then you find out like he was already like a few hours late.
That,
like, oh damn,
that was good.
That was good. That was done well.
Because they seem like they're doing the whole cliche, like pick up the fucking phone, pick up the goddamn phone before you do whatever you're gonna do, before you open the door, before you open the package, whatever. Like pick up the phone is ringing, pick up the phone, and it's like Alfred, goddamn it. And then
because they're like homies, just letting that shit ring.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, he's the butler. Why is he so interested in this package in front of me? He can come back to the package. The freaking phone is ringing. Go pick up the phone. That's your job. But yeah, it's come to find out, like it was like I know I was a little harsh on the guy who got bombed in that scenario, but
Feel the phone, baby.
But it turns out the phone was never ringing. So that was an interesting twist on that cliche. You're right, Alex. That's good to bring up and point out.
That was pretty darn dope.
Yeah,
and that the resolution with him and Alfred is pretty great too. I think in the hospital.
Yeah, where he sets it straight on who Thomas Wayne truly is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. And, well, I guess the Alfred thing too is part of the thing of just Batman like being constantly a little like one step behind, a little bit late, like the whole movie. And I mean, it goes up until the end. That's kind of a great aspect of the movie. It's the Riddler almost brings like the end of Gotham, and the best Batman can do is just like, well, I'm gonna be there and save as many people as I can. Just like stuff is fricked, and he just jumps in through the ceiling at the end, and that's kind of like the essence of Batman to me in a way. It's just like, that was pretty
yeah,
great.
and attached to that scene as well was a cool bit where he talked about like that's the first time I've felt real fear and I don't know how long. Like I thought I conquered all that. I thought like I wasn't gonna be like that same scared little boy. He doesn't say that, but that's the implication of like I wanted to never feel that way again, and it happened to me, and I realized it's because I still have people I care about and stuff like that. So that was a good like soulful moment that like gave depth to the character. But yeah, it's I don't know. Do you guys have anything? I was going to talk about leading into sequels and stuff.
I guess directly before that, just the ending of him completing his arc, because we see Batman as a hero. Obviously, we have so much experience.
This is exactly what I was going to say, I think. So go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
No, go ahead. Keep on going. Just so
it's a great character arc for him to be like, oh, I can just be this dude who beats up criminals and that'll save everyone. And it turns out it doesn't. And the Riddler's henchmen's motivations are like the same as his in a way, or they think, basically. And so him, like, if you juxtapose like the first scene essentially to the last, it's like the dude is afraid of him because he is this intimidating dude who they know nothing about. And then the last one, he's saving this woman and she doesn't want to let go of him.
Yeah.
That, like, I had to marinate on that ending for a while, and I really am a fan, actually.
Yeah, it's exactly that scene that Trevor was talking about. That was also one of my favorite shots of the entire movie, of him with the road flare leading everyone out. Right before that, as he goes over, because only Batman is strong enough to lift the rafters, he like pushes it out of the way, and he like goes to like offer a helping hand. But it's exactly as you were saying, David. Like they make this whole point the entire movie, right? And at the very beginning, and throughout, that he's like, I am the shadows, I am the darkness, I lurk, I am not seen, I'm a nocturnal animal, you don't know me, like I'm scary, And so like the entire concept, which we talked about earlier, is like it makes so much sense to the audience why everyone else is so like feels the way they do about him. Like the public's perception of Batman makes a ton of sense in this movie because of what they show you. And so he goes to lend a helping hand, and I could be wrong, but it was phenomenal, like dialogue-less, like no dialogue acting, where he like reaches out, and the person, I think it's the mayor, right? The mayor-elect is like hesitant to accept his help initially, where it's like, you are in a life or death scenario, this is the only person offering you help, and you're still like afraid of him, like that, like, this is the guy like technically fighting on your side, like whatever, but he's still like scary. He's a big, intimidating figure, and if we loop back to My Hero Academia, LOL, they have the rankings of heroes that look most like villains. He looks like a villain. He's in a fully black suit, and he doesn't want anyone to know who he is. Like that's not what a hero is usually seen as. And so it's this transformation, and like you said, I think okay. Anyway, I think they want you. I think they want you to do exactly what you were talking about, David, where they want you to juxtapose the beginning to the end, where he goes from being this creature of darkness to realizing like, oh, that's not what I need to be. I need to be a hero in the light, and he literally is the light leading them through the dark. It's a fantastic visual metaphor, where he's like at the end of this conflict, Batman is the physical light getting them out of the bad scenario. And so it's a transformation, and they tried really hard, and I think successfully, to like establish his character for future movies and stuff like that, and to set him up as like, okay, this is the type of Batman he's gonna be. and that character arc worked really well, I think, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. Because if they do all that and then just go straight back to on the shadows, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. It's like if he's like just the same exact Batman we saw for like 90% of the movie, and then in the sequel, then what the fuck was the point? So
yeah, I think.
Although I will say, the beginning pissed me off like a little bit, like with the whole perception thing. Like when like the first fight scene, he kicks all the dudes' asses, and then the dude is like, "Please don't hurt me." Like, bro, he just saved you. How about a thank you? You know?
It is, yeah. Because it's also a cliche. Like they do that in a lot of movies. And
Yeah.
like what? Like it is as a scene by itself. It's definitely weird, but it does set up the later stuff.
But I do like that. Like also to kind of to the point of like him being in the shadows is not just him as a perception by the public. It's like a perception by the villains or the criminals, and they do it really well in the beginning where he's like, I am the shadows. And it's like they look up and see, they know they're doing something wrong, they look up and see the bat signal, and then they like are scared of the dark because they think he's
I like that a lot.
Like, I really did like that.
Yeah that's great.
The spider signal.
It's kind of hilarious to me. It's kind of hilarious to me that no one, like, I guess you wouldn't be able to tell, because I guess you would only see it like projected on the clouds as opposed to the actual beam. But like the concept that no one else knows where the bat signal is, and it's just on a random fucking construction site, is like kind of hilarious in a weird way.
A little weird, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
And then they have
there was a certain point where Gordon, I think it was Gordon and Bruce like run into each other like, did you turn on that signal? No, I didn't. Did you? Like,
because Catwoman calls him because she got the narcotics officer that was involved or whatever,
right.
But yeah, they do have that moment where they're like, I thought that was you. That wasn't you. I thought it was you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they have. While I'm just reminded of the building, this is just a quick scene that one of the funniest edits in a minute of when, like, I think it's when Batman and Catwoman first kiss, and he's left there.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, bro. And then it's just this message approved by Thomas Wayne or whatever. Like, just holding on his face after that.
Oh man.
Yes, sir.
Goodness.
Samir had a great fucking joke with that too. It was just great. I couldn't remember what it was, but he delivered such a dope line with it.
Wayne Manor was, if we're talking about buildings, Wayne Manor was nuts. Freaking like,
it was.
I guess that's Gothic architecture.
It was almost Stark Tower-esque.
Yeah, it's like the gigantic skyscraper over the city. Like
Wayne.
Yeah, yeah. He wants a big tower with his name plastered on the front.
Yeah, it's
whatever
like
that line
MetLife
is.
near Grand Central.
Yeah.
Wayne.
So yeah, that was interesting. But I thought they made Gotham look very, very good. They had the same
the attention to detail with changing literally everything from New York City to Gotham, especially considering Gotham is a nickname for New York City, so it just lends a hand to how seamless that transition is. But I do enjoy that immersiveness of them literally being in Gotham, not being the same skyline. It wasn't the same as New York City.
Yeah, but
they changed everything. Yeah,
you're still clearly looking at like an American city that could exist. Is still good. Yeah,
right.
Although everybody in the city, Gotham is always portrayed as so grimy. Mm-hmm. Everybody's wilding in that city, bro. Like, it's just.
Yeah, I saw some tweet that was like, the rappers from Gotham be going off or something like that. Like, could you?
Oh man,
bro.
Straight grime.
Bro.
Straight out the asylum.
Just nothing but grime beats the whole time.
They're going off, man.
Yeah. Just seriously.
All right.
Y'all got any more thoughts?
Had a weird thought of living in a city is fucking crazy because you never know what's going on like 5 feet from you, where like the lounge of the 44 Below, like where Falcone hangs out and stuff, and like where like murder is happening and like whatever is just like above a road or something. Like there's just a highway right there, and like just imagine you're just that random dude like driving home from work to go see your wife and kids, and the window's right there, and you have no idea that you're like driving directly below like a horrendous den of crime. Like
It's that same idea of like anyone can be a killer.
Yeah,
where, like,
you walk past like 5 sociopaths in your lifetime, or 5 serial killers in your lifetime, or something. Yeah.
You could walk to a metropolis. You could go through New York City and fucking walk past 3 people that have stabbed several million people. You know, kind of thing. Like it's ridiculous.
and you have no concept of it. It's it's crazy.
Okay. So one last gripe. How does Cat? All right, so let me just ask y'all, and I don't expect y'all to answer because like y'all shouldn't have an answer because there's no answer.
For audio listeners, he's got his head in his hands right now.
How the fuck does Catwoman miss that shot against her father?
Oh, facts.
How the fuck did he not die? You're kidding me, right?
Yeah.
You're absolutely fucking joking, right?
But then Penguin hits
don't even try.
Yeah.
But then Penguin hits the absolute hip fire of a lifetime.
Quick draw. Yeah. Well, man, the lights went out, my guy. So.
Oh man, my will to live has run out.
She like shoots the instant they go out anyway, so it's not like she had to re-aim.
Yeah.
And he didn't move too. It's like 60.
If you act like it's just like. Yeah.
It is interesting because pistols are actually like kind of terribly difficult to aim. It's such a tiny little thing.
Shut up.
So like,
have you ever shot a pistol?
Have I? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're not that inaccurate.
No, they're not inaccurate.
Feet blank range, man. Fuck out of here.
No, okay, so
shoot a shotgun. You're gonna hit a motherfucker.
I'm still agreeing with you. I was gonna make a separate thing where movies do this thing where like every single person is a god with a pistol the first time they pick it up for some reason. Where it's like no, guns are difficult to use. Like they're it's not just that. It's not like point and shoot. Like you do have to aim and shit. So, but
I'm pretty good at it.
Like her
I'm
arm,
pretty good at it too.
And like I owe it to video games.
From the end of her arm, like to him, like standing profile, by the way, like as big of a target as she could have.
Yeah, like, center mass is like 2 feet wide. Like
if you want to hit him in the heart, that's going to be hard to do. If you need to hit him at all, you got to make that fucking shot. Like hit him
Stormtroopers.
At least hit him
Stormtroopers
at all.
Yeah. Stormtrooper as exactly.
I know that. Like, at that point, you might as well have not even let her shoot the fucking gun.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
or so make the lights go out first, or like make some shit. Like if you're gonna knock the lights, don't give her a free shot first.
I would have bought it right there. I would have been like, okay, you know, maybe pitch black. You're completely discombobulated. She shot immediately as lights go out. Like, homie's not the Flash. He's still where he was.
Also, if you're shooting to kill, why are you shooting one time?
Yeah, I'm fucking emptying the mag, bro.
12 bullets. Yeah, rip that shit.
Like Python Black Ops 1 shooting again. Like, what are you talking about? What are we talking about?
You have to fan the hammer.
Yeah, that's
what
fan the hammer.
Like
McCree, back at it.
It's not McCree anymore.
Anyway, but yeah, it's
no one can tell me who he is, so it's Astral calling me McCree.
Yeah. His name's like Cody Jenkins or something like that now.
Cody Jenkins.
What the frick?
Dead game, anyways.
I'm not going there at this point. Yeah.
Let's wrap this bad.
His name is Cole Cassidy. I'm sorry.
Yes, I say let's wrap this bad boy up as well.
Should I say this Bat Boy?
I'm dead inside.
What?
Y'all want to give a rating? Let's do it. We're about an hour and a half deep. We need to give some ratings, my G guys.
Let's do it.
I real quick, but you saying Bat Boy reminded me as I was going to see the movie. My grandmother was here, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to see it. Like, bye, whatever. And he's like, oh, you want to see the Batman? And so my grandma hasn't seen anything of Batman in fucking a couple decades, and so what she said was like, does he still have that boy with the tights? And I was like, Robin? And she was like, yeah, that one. And I was like, I don't know, Grandma, he might be in the movie. We'll see. I was like, there's no way. But yeah, that one. But he was like that boy with the tights. I was like, Grandma, you're killing me. That's so funny.
You know, and the way they look at that one orphan kid kind of makes me think that he might be Robin in the future.
I'm thinking that too. Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know
they just gave him too much screen time though.
Yeah,
like, the way he stares at him.
Dude, Bruce stared at him like a fucking psychopath. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like now the kid has like no father. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could easily be it.
I mean, his mom's still alive, right?
Is she
not a complete orphan. I don't know. I think he just killed the mayor. I think the mom's still alive. But anyway.
Yeah, but how do we know he had a mother to begin with?
Because she's in the scene. Oh, you guys walked in late. You see the mother in the scene.
No, I didn't walk in late. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
They were early as shit. We were the ones.
I mean, plot. They got plot. The opposite of plot armor. She could die next. Who knows?
That's factual. No, for sure.
Opposite of plot armor.
Yeah, everyone got the opposite of freaking plot armor in those movies. Yeah, DC movies.
Give me a freaking rating, my G. I want to hear from David. Give me the rating.
Man, I was right first. Not really, but okay.
I want to hear from Cameron. Give me the Cameron rating.
All right. I like watching this movie knowing we were going to record the podcast on it, like basically immediately after. Obviously, I was watching it with the idea of like, okay, what am I going to rate this? And so in my head, as the movie goes on, it was like going up and down basically, but mostly like starting low and then finally going up because I initially like kind of put disrespect on the movie for the fact that I felt like I was just watching a crime show. I felt like it was like CSI or whatever with a lot of punching in between, where it was like, okay, the narrative of this movie is going to be the Riddler kills people, the Batman is a step behind the entire time, he eventually finally catches him, end movie. And so I was like, if that's how this really plays out, I'm gonna be like kind of salty about it, honestly, if that's what it is.
What happened?
If that's what it is for 3 hours. But then they finally catch him, and then it turns into the catastrophic event version of Batman, where like the entire time I was like, interesting that they're doing this thing where it's just they're just investigating the seedy underbelly of the city, where like The Dark Knight Rises, the threat was that he was gonna nuke the entire city, and that's what Batman had to stop. Like everyone was definitely going to die. Like is the conflict of the Batman movie I know the most about, or I've seen the most. And so I was like confused almost when they just like weren't doing like massive conflict stuff, but they kept doing the cliche, which was kind of starting to drive me up a wall of like, I can't talk, like this is so much bigger than you know, like you can never imagine how big this is. It's like I literally fucking am here. Like I understand how awful this city is. I think I can conceptualize that it is awful. Like we all know this. Like I don't know. So he's like I'd rather die than talk, and like that makes sense. Like your family is on the line, whatever. But it's
going to my grave.
They did it
like 2 minutes later.
It happened.
I didn't shoot.
It happened too many times for my liking, where they kept on insisting it's bigger than you could ever imagine. It's like not really.
No,
like
not.
It's just it's standard corruption. Like the mob owns the city. Like that makes sense. Like that's a thing that happens.
Or the Yakuza.
But yeah, whatever. So with that in mind, it slowed down, and the predictability of it made it feel like not so great. But then it got not completely unpredictable, but lost its predictability almost entirely, and in the last like 45 minutes to an hour of the movie or whatever. So. And then the additional plot twists that we were already talking about with him knowing or not knowing that he's Bruce Wayne and all that. And so I land, I think, on a 7. I'm going to say it was good, but not like amazing or great, and it didn't like blow my socks off. But I enjoyed it. It's worth seeing, in my opinion, basically, is where I'll land.
Nice. Well, I definitely didn't have a score in mind. I think Alex and I were like, I really don't know what to score it after we saw it. But this has helped me, solidify my feelings on it, at least for now, my thoughts on it. I think I'm a pretty big fan of this movie, all said and done. There's a few gripes, but they're really not huge to me. There's no major, like, unbelievable stuff, or like this character just doesn't make sense by the end of it or something. So cinematography is great. The action is kind of sparing, but when it does happen, it's pretty great. I appreciate that it's mostly a detective story, and acting's great. I think we get another great Batman. I think my favorite part is just like zooming out and seeing the character arc that Batman took to be like the hero we know him as. Even though he was already trying to do it, they don't have to bother with his origin story. He went through a lot of growth in this movie and had to realize some things about himself, and that's pretty great. So I do want to see it again. Actually, I'll probably give it an 8. Actually, I really enjoy this movie thinking about it more.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I did enjoy this movie too. I really did. I was a little worried about like how he was gonna be as Batman, but I was like, I'm gonna just be open minded. I'm gonna give it a chance, and I'm pleasantly intrigued by it. I think It's definitely a solid entry. Definitely a lot better than what we've been getting from Batman for the past recent memory from DC.
That's true.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about it, and I think it's best we just take this and just keep going and forget. I don't know.
Right?
Fire and forget.
I guess.
I mean, that's what the movie asks you to do. It basically asks you, like, forget everything you know about Batman and focus on this one. This is the story we're telling now. So
I'm glad they don't focus a lot too much on his origin, although they kind of lean into it a little bit where he's like, Falcone is the one that killed your dad. It's like, I mean, it's cool. They kind of did a lot to make sure to keep the image of Thomas Wayne. Oh, he was still a good guy, which it's fine. I mean, it's not like when they were calling something that's supposed to have happened a while ago. It's kind of like, all right, it's cool. Right? I mean, it has. I don't know if it necessarily changes the trauma of Batman having to grow up without parents, but I wouldn't say it carries it for me. But what really impressed me was the cinematography. Like I talked to you about before, like some of the camera shots and the directive choices in those angles and the contrast of like the reds and the dark tones and like the dark blues that they used was really like I really did enjoy. So I'm with Cameron on this one. I'm gonna give it a 7 as well. Pretty favorable. Has room to grow for the series, whatever the next entry may be. So I'm definitely excited for the future. See, they got a plethora of different characters that they can draw from. So
yeah,
I'm excited for what comes next.
Which right quick, you reminded me. I found it kind of funny that like the way Alfred says your father was a good man. He is like good man is the highest like compliment he could ever pay a person ever. Like he just it's funny to me. I don't know the way he says it. It's pretty good. So yeah, go ahead, Trev. Sorry.
You just got out of Wakanda though.
I don't have a whole lot to add to you guys. You guys pretty much echoed most of what I thought. I thought the cinematography was fantastic for the most part. I was a little worried when I first heard that Robert Pattinson was going to be Bruce Wayne, but like Alex said, I went into it with an open mind, and as the date kept drawing closer to when we were going to see it, I was like, yeah, I'm a little more excited than I thought I was. And then the day came, and I was driving to it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to see a new fucking Batman movie. Like, I'm excited. I'm drinking out of my Batman Tervis cup. I'm wearing my Batman shirt. Like, I was hyped. I was really hyped. And
it's been 10 years since we got a good Batman.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. It's literally 10 years. It's been quite a long time. So fuck Ben Affleck. But yeah, no, this was a fairly solid entry. Like I said, I think that the movie could have absolutely been at least a half hour shorter, maybe 40 minutes shorter. It was one of those like painfully slow movies for me. I think the runtime kind of docks it a lot for me, but I enjoyed it. I like the Riddler for the most part, and I'm very excited to see where they go, whether or not that's it's confirmed that it is Joker. I think he's the mind controller guy from the Eternals movie. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm excited for more Robert Pattinson Batman, and it's gonna kind of sound weird, but I'm gonna give this movie a 6.5. A strong 6.5. Definitely enjoyed it, but it's far too fucking long for me. So yeah,
dope,
nice. Well, if you've made it this far, you're halfway through the movie at this point.
Yeah. Basically.
Roughly. So, if you made it this far, though, we love you, we care about you, and it's been real. I narrowly avoided saying Alex's phrase there, so it's been real, everybody. And y'all take care of yourselves. You matter, you're important, and,
facts.
Significant.
Oh, speaking facts,
fuck yeah.
All right, well, to follow that up, you made it to this point. Leave us some comments. Tell us what you thought about the movie. We'd love to hear your different takes, opinions. If you thought it was trash, if you thought it was the best Batman ever, we're here to hear it. Yeah, like David said, we cherish you for being here, for listening. You're listening to this. You're important. And with that, I will say, I love you all.
For sure. Hope y'all enjoyed this 3-hour movie, almost a 2-hour podcast. That's almost 5 hours of Batman content for you, so you're welcome. So, yeah, hope y'all enjoyed. Hope y'all, if you're here, you obviously stayed for the whole thing, unless you're some sort of crazy person that just skips to the end of podcasts. But, rate us 5 stars, like I said earlier in the podcast. If you want to guest, that's a prerequisite. So, get that done. And then, yeah, stay safe. Streets aren't as terrible as Gotham, but they can be pretty awful. So, stay safe and make the world a safer place by being kind to each other,
Facts. All right. Well, I'm going to end this with shouting out my boy David, my boy Alex, my boy Samir, my boy Jose, and my boy Jay. I love you guys. Y'all made my fucking day yesterday. It was so much fun. I'm glad that I got to see this movie with y'all, and I can't fucking wait to see the new Jujutsu Kaisen with you guys. I'm so fucking excited to see. What did he say? Oh, he's fucking leaving? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so y'all are watching on YouTube. He fucking Cameron.
I didn't get a shout out.
I love you too, Cameron, but you weren't there, so.
I love you too, man. I love it.
Yeah,
all right.
Y'all, yesterday was a fucking crazy day. It was so much fun. And like I said, I'm very much looking forward to more cinematic experience with y'all guys. It was awesome. So, with that, peace the motherfuck out, baby.